Hello. Wise, can you hear me now? I believe so. I can see my sound meter moving, so I believe that um, you can hear me. Hopefully, hopefully. Just give me a thumbs up or just a yes or something. Let me know you can hear me properly. So, as I was saying, hopefully the sound is okay now. I can see my sound meter. Was that on the Demystify technology with Sam show, the very first project? Thank you very much, Wise, for that check. So the very first project we're building is a simple web application that allows you to post to all your social media feeds. So whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. So we're going to create a simple app that allows you post it. Thank you very much, Wise, and then you select your endpoint, and then you can post at once. So you don't need to go to Facebook, Twitter, and all that to post. So I started creating the GitHub repo. I showed you how to create a simple node application, publish it to Azure web apps, and then also I showed you in a subsequent episode how to create your Azure DevOps and then actually publish it because we're going to use a CI/CD pipeline. So when you make changes to the code, you can actually, push the changes. I also showed you how to create deployment slots. So you could have a production slot. You could also have a development slot so that the changes you make will automatically be built to a development slot instead of production. So what I want to do today is that I'm going to show you the Azure DevOps project. Um, and then we're going to see how to go about it the other way. And then subsequently, we'll start adding modules, node modules to our project. If you missed it, it's always on demand on my YouTube channel. It's also on demand on Periscope and other channels. Thank you for joining me. And then let's just get right into it. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the Twitch or Periscope or Twitter handles, and then send me any message. Send me, just talk to me if you want to learn Microsoft Azure, if you want to learn cloud computing, development, any question you have. Maybe you have a project you're trying to undertake, and then you're having challenges. Just hit at me. Now, another interesting thing I want to mention. So, if you've been following my Twitter handle closely, I have been advocating for the ability for developers, especially in the African terrain or the West African sub region, to be able to pay for their Azure subscriptions using, wait for it, using mobile wallet. Yes. So in my quest, trying to find a solution to that, I actually sent a tweet to the Azure team, the Microsoft Africa team, Azure Africa team, and I just got a response to follow, like to send an official email for them to follow up. And I've just been thinking, I've been thinking what would be the best solution to do that. And talking to a few people, something, a light bulb came off. Now, I'm sure most of you know of Flutterwave or Flutterwave, however you want to call it. Now, so they have a mobile app called, I think it's Batha. Now, it allows you to create virtual cards. Yes, it allows you to create virtual cards. So I have not tried it yet, but I'm going to try that and I'm going to give you the feedback when I finish trying it. So what I intend to do is try to create one of those their virtual cards, it could be Mastercard or Visa, and then see if I can load or fund that card using my MTN mobile money wallet. If I'm able to fund that, then we're in business. Then that means that I can use that Flutterwave virtual card on the Microsoft Azure website and fund that card with my local mobile wallet account. And that solves the problem. With that, guys, you don't have any excuse on getting onto Azure. Don't forget the card is just for identification. There are tons and tons of free services in Azure you can enjoy once you sign up. So, in the coming episode, if I go through that and successful, I'll blog about it, I'll talk about it, and then you can get started. So, let's get right into it. So, as usual, yep, let's take you right here. So, like, as you know, I always like to use my Chrome and make sure that all my extensions, so we go to portal.azure.com. Let me increase this a bit. Let's reset. I'll increase it once we get into it so you guys can. you guys can get in. Yep. So if you join us, welcome today on the Mystify Tech Show with Sam. We're talking about Azure DevOps. We're talking about Azure DevOps. I think I should add another lower text somewhere here so that I can actually put stuff that's going on there. I think that would be really helpful. Let me make a note of that so I don't forget. So let's add a lower third to the main cam and screen scene. Yeah, I also received the other day I received a tweet from someone that no, actually it was one of the messages on Facebook that they want to see my setup. Well, yes, I would give you a virtual tour into my setup one of these days, and I'll try to give you a 360 experience so they can actually see around, around. You can see around my office. You can see what's happening. All right. So this is the Azure portal. So as always, you go to create resource, and then here you can just type DevOps, and you can see DevOps project. We click on it. Let me take it in a bit. So it tells us, you can just read a little bit about it. DevOps project makes it easy to get started with Azure, helps you launch an app on a service. So pretty much you can just read what you want to read about it. You can go to plans, see the DevOps plan. Now, the thing about these services is that you can go create them individually, all right, and then connect them as you saw us do last week. But this is an all-in-one which already has the connections in place. So all you need to do is just create it and it provisions all that for you. So in our case, we're just going to go with a quick start. Let me check our GitHub repo now. So sorry, if you're trying to find the GitHub repo, what happened was that I actually got rid of the GitHub repo. Now, this is because okay, there's help wanted here. Deploying Azure functions in Java with Terraform. This looks like an interesting thing I might pick up. Yeah, though I'm not fond of Java. Hey, that would be cool if I can just use Terraform. I'll look into it and see if I can pick it up and work on it. So, well, this is how you give back to the community. You contribute to GitHub code or source code, share, you get back, and yeah. So, I would create a new repo and then make the repo up publicly available for you guys because my DevOps project was picking a different repo and then it was just like mixing it up all around. So, let's go ahead and create. And yeah, so remember our application was a Node application. So I'm going to select the Node Express application. And as you can see, there are options for you. If you do Java, you can select Java for DevOps, PHP, Python, C, Go, Ruby, or just bring your own code. So Azure or Microsoft is open source friendly. So as a Node project, we click on Next. And now, so these are the options that we have, all right? We are creating an Express application. We could also do very basic Node application. We could do Sales. Now, Sales is also another Node framework. It's actually an MVC framework for Node development, JavaScript Node development. So if you haven't checked it out, you can check that out. I know a colleague of mine who's crazy about Sales. Or you're doing an IoT project, but in our case, we're sticking to a simple Express application. If we want to add a database at this point, um, yes, we would add a database, but not now. So I'm not going to select this option. I'll show you how to add the option later on. So we're keeping to this. So next, and it's asking us how do we want to deploy the application? Are we choosing to just do a regular web, Windows web application that is fully managed Windows compute? You remember that when we created our service, we actually used a Linux web app and deployed our Node application because that in terms saves is a lot cheaper than running on Windows. Just because of the licensing issues. Or you want to do Kubernetes, if you want to do containers, all right, fully managed orchestrations, microservices, you want it broken into pieces, you can go for this option as well. Now, or you just want to put a fully managed compute platform on a Linux for deploying and running containers. So if you want to put your stuff in a container, hey, you can do that. And when that happens, you can actually migrate it from cloud to cloud. So I mean that's another cool option. Um, let's see. So hey, don't forget, keep the questions coming. If you need any clarification, just you just hit at me. And also, we're trying so hard to understand your requirements and your needs, so I can better tailor this shows or this recordings to you. So yeah, so let's select web application. That's what we want to do. So next, and then here it's going to ask us for the project name. So in our case is what? I think it's Omni Post, right? Now it's going to look for my Azure DevOps organization. As of now, I only have one. So, and where is this Azure DevOps organization coming from? If you go to, I think it's dev.azure.com. If you go to dev.azure.com, you're going to see this. So this is where my organization and projects are coming from, because I have gone ahead to create a project, and hey, you have some free components in there. It's free for open source project forever. Yeah, it's also free for, I think, a 5-member team. You don't pay anything. You can use the Azure bots. You can use the CI/CD pipeline. So I have created the organization there, and I'm using the bots. I'm going to use the repository, the pipeline, the test, and all that. So that's where this organization is coming from. And obviously, my Visual Studio subscription is what I have in Azure. And the web app application name is going to be called OmniPost, which says it's cool. And like I mentioned, remember that all the time to choose locations closest to your users or to you, just to make it easier. So I'll just stick to the East US. Sorry, yeah, East US for now. And it gives you an idea of my pricing tier. I'm using S1. If I want to go into it, I can go into additional settings and create a resource group. So I think I should create a new resource group, create an Azure DevOps organization. No, we're not creating an organization because we already have an organization. The resource group I want to call, let's just keep it to, yeah, let's just say OmniPost resource group. Let's just give the suggested name. But still using S1, I could, go down and select different tiers as I want. I'll leave it to the default because I can always come back and change it. And then yeah, that's just about it. So once we're done, all green, all check, I'm going to do done. Now what this is going to do is that it's going to provision a lot of infrastructure for me. It's going to provision my DevOps board. So if you keep here, let me just refresh this. You probably you see what's going to happen right now. As of now, I only have one project, Logic EPG. Once the provisioning is done, I'll see the second project called OmniPost right here. So yeah, let me close this for now. Okay. And then, oh, uh, okay. So we can go here. Well, some deployment is happening, and what you're seeing here is the deployment logic or deployment code. Most of it is infrastructure as code. So there's just a bunch of JSON telling us the input, output, and template. Because I could use this as an infrastructure as code template and rebuild another like project using this and maybe parameterizing the inputs and outputs. Right. So okay. Yep. 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 Okay. All right. So as you can see, our deployment is completed. Pa, 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 pa. Please, AMCT can speak in just one of the speakers. Oh, okay. Yes, 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 yes. I am. I am. What's the weekend? What's the weekend? What's the weekend? Oh yeah, yes, 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 yes. I am. I am. I am. I am. Okay, sorry. I was just goofing about. I just got a message somewhere that I was like a bit excited about. So yeah, yes, I'm gonna take that on. Yeah, yeah, yep. So awesome. So now what do we do? Let's go to the resource. Don't mind me. I'm just goofing around. So as you can see, we have a code repository created for us here in Git. Currently, we are running in the master. It created an Omnipost continuous integration for us. It did a build, and then it went ahead to do a continuous deployment, which is in progress. So right now, if I go and this is where my code is going to live. This is now where my code is going to live. So what's going to happen is that let's see. Uh, let's check this out. So I'm going to check. That is nice. So let's see. I'm just trying to. Okay, okay. I'm trying to. Oh, why? Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy. Okay, okay. So let's do this. All right. So now, if we go back to the home and I refresh this, like I said, look at this. We have our Omnipost right here. So now we have our Logic EPG, which was the project today before. We have our Omnipost, which is just what we added. So if I open this up, you can see, well, we don't have any bots, we don't have anything created yet, but in terms of repos, if you open this up, you can see that we have our repo created right here. So now I can actually go to this repository, clone this onto my local environment and start working. And then automatically my CI/CD pipeline is going to build for me. So if you look at the pipelines as well, we have one Omnipost CI continuous integration pipeline. If you open this up, you see that the first commit has been done and that initiated a build. And then if you check the build out, as you can see, artifact, everything has been done. Unit test, all that, check has been done. So if I go back to, let me just right click and open this here. If I go back to my release, all right, it's going to open the Azure Dev for me. And actually, let's go to my home and go to my resources, all right. Let me go to my resource groups and you can see Omnipost resource group. It created also um, some extra stuff for me. So as you can see here, I have application insight for Omnipost. I have the app service itself for Omnipost, and then I have the app service plan. All this was created now. So ideally, if I wanted to go the manual route, I would have created my app service, enabled application insight, selected the app service plan, and then go back to Azure DevOps and then create the integration. But this has happened for me automatically. So now if I open the Omnipost web app, I can actually go to that endpoint, which is omnipost. Um, let's go back. Omnipost.azure website, and then I should be able to see my. So let me copy this. If we bring this here, I should just see just a scaffold of a node application, all right, or just telling me that hey, my app service is ready, and it's running, all right. So that's all I will see because I haven't deployed any code in there yet. So it will be up to me to go in there and then create code and then publish, and then we can see the output of that code. So right now, all I just want to do is I'm going to go ahead, clone that repo locally, make some changes, push it, and then we can see the. So as you can see, it's just telling us site under construction because there's nothing in there, right? There's nothing in there. So I just keep this open. I would keep this pipeline. I'll just keep this pipeline. Let me see all. Yeah, I'll just keep this pipeline. The first commit here, this one open. And then so in the repo, all right. So here, uh, yeah. Let me talk a little bit about this. The CI/CD flow you can see here. All right. So this is it. This is telling us, well, I have a continuous integration for release, and I have a staging. I have stages. So if I just have one stage, now what happens is that if I go ahead, now let me show you something in the environment. As of now, I don't have any environment created. Now, this environment correlates to app service slots. So the more slots I create in my Azure App Service, they're going to reflect as environment because slots are just different environments where you deploy your code. So I mentioned that we might need a development slot, we might need a staging, and then we might need a production. Sometimes in real life situations, you want to have a user acceptance, or UAT production environment as well. So we can check that out. But let's just leave this as it is and just go and just start to do something. So just like in any GitHub thing, get repos landing page. Do I want to do that now? No, I don't want to do that now. This is live stream. Everything could go wrong. So I'm just sticking to it. So all I have to do is that I need to click on clone. And what is going to happen is that it's going to give me the repository URL that I can clone. Or it can ask me if I want to clone it in Visual Studio. I can say yes, clone it in Visual Studio. Now, I have all these installed, but I'm going to clone it in Visual Studio. So I'm just going to click here, clone in Visual Studio. It's going to ask me, do you want to open Visual Studio? I'm going to say yes. And what's going to happen is that it's going to automatically open Visual Studio. I'll say open. And this is going to prep my environment with, and it's going to ask me where do I want to save it. So I always put it somewhere here. And I think I created, oh, there's something in there. I'm going to quickly delete it. Yes. Take it here. Ba, 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 bam. Hmm. Well, you know what? I'm just going to, I'm going to delete this as well. This is because I want this to be my repository location. All right. So let's go back here and say this is a repository location because it's going to create a folder with the name of the project OmniPost. So I don't need to have a folder with that name already existing. Else I'm going to have all the clash. Visual Studio, Visual Studio, Visual Studio. What do I want? What do I? Okay, once this is signing. This is another one. Hopefully, and this is what. Yeah, sign out and sign with a different account. This is what I've signed in with Outlook already. So yes. So because I've already signed that with Outlook, it should go ahead. It's cloning my repository as you can see from here. I did some Java stuff over the weekend, so I don't need this. I'm just going to close this. So as you can see, it's cloning into my repository. So it's asking me for the password. So I think, hopefully I got that password correct because I have a lot of passwords. Ha 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 ha. Get login failed. Use Control C to cancel basic credential prompt. Um, let's see. Let's see. Let me go here to my Git lens. Hmm. Let's see. I'm gonna close this. Let me try this again. Clone it in Visual Studio. Open in Visual Studio. Now I'm forgetting my allow extensions. Open. Yes. I think I'm already logged in. Okay, it's asking me for the location again. This is it. It's cloning into the repository. It's going to ask me for my get password. This is my Visual Studio. Hmm. Hold on. Let's see something. Mhm, 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 mhm. Okay. All right. Well, let's see if I got this for the last time. It's cloning. Would you like to open the clone repository? Open. Open. Yes. And there you have it. So we have. Oh, let me close this. Actually, let me give you a full screen so that makes it easy for you to see. So what we have here is now my repository is cloned. I have my working environment ready, but there's nothing in here. So if you can realize that I don't have any extra things here. My pipeline is just one. I have one environment. Nothing has been pushed. It's just C sites under construction. It's just basics, basics. So if you remember, the last time we did this, all we did was we just scaffold a very basic application. All right, very basic hello world application. That was just for the start, you know, so that we could so that we could just analyze how do you call it? So that we could actually just analyze, stuff. So let's see. Okay. So let's do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the process of creating a very basic node application. Let me give you this. Let's see if you can see my face so you can actually relate to what I'm doing. You can see my face and relate to what I'm doing. So let's check npm. Let's check npm version. We have 6.4. Okay. If you are node version, if you're following, you will know that I'm using nvm. You know that I'm using nvm. So I can actually install any version of node and use. So currently I'm using 10.4, 10.1, which was because of my functions application. But this has, no effect on me, so that's fine. So I'm going to install Express because that's what you're going to use. So npm install Express. And this is going to install Express in my application. All right. Let's see. So Express is installed. CLS. Let's open this up and you realize that it actually added a package.json. I think we need to include a get ignore so that I don't include the how do you call it, the node modules. And if you remember, I think I actually shared an how do you call it? I shared a URL called, I think it is get ignore.io. And I mentioned that this website actually allows you to create get ignore files. So the operating system, let's say I'm running Windows. It is Node Express Engine. We're using um, uh, Visual Studio Code. What else are we using? Node modules. I mentioned the Node Windows Visual Studio Code. Yeah, so I can pretty much add um oh no, let's go back. Sorry about that. Yeah, Windows Node um Visual Studio Code and then Express. No, I'm using this. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Express. Okay. So at least with this three, it's going to get rid of anything. So here's my, there you go. So I can actually copy the whole of this. I can copy this and then come to my folder here and add a new file and call it uh, dot get ignore. And then in there, I can just paste this file, save, and you realize that immediately it ignores the node module and just tells me I have only two files added right here, right? So I want to do that. And now, what else? So basically, what I want to do now is I want to ensure that I can actually run the application. So let's go ahead and scaffold a new application. So let me check so at this point there's a package lock, but actually I don't see this. So let's do this. Let's do npm init. I should actually done this before. Omni post version 1, um, omni channel social posting. Entry point, I'll just leave it to index.js. We don't have any. So this is the Git repository, is there. Keywords, um, I'll just say keywords is omni post, Samuel Johnny, Azure, Microsoft Azure. Well, just something to represent. So that is me. And this is open source, so I'll leave the license. Yep. And this adds a package.json. And then with a test, because I don't have any test, I'm going to get rid of this. Now remember that this was something that was causing us some problem because I actually put a test there and then I didn't have any test in the application and it was just flaring up. So I'm just going to leave it blank. Or what I can do is just copy this here. You know, just get rid of this. So my test is in place. Now I need to have my index. If you look at the script here, so I'm going to go ahead and do the start, which is going to be node index.js, because that is a starting point of the application. All right. So I'm going to do test start. So start is node. So if I do npm start, it's going to run this script, node index, and that's going to run application. So let's go ahead and add our index file. So we'll just say index.js. All right, and the index.js file, let me bring this here. The index.js file is that's just our starting point. All right. So to do this, we bring this a bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead, see IntelliSense. So I first need my Express, which is going to be require, and look at all the IntelliSense. Beautiful. That's Express because I've brought Express in. And then I can say const the app which we're going to run is equal to what? Express. Um, is just a new instance of Express. And then now, this is you need to be mindful of this if you are deploying to Azure. The port should always come from an environmental variable and not just a mere variable. So I will put this in a config in an environmental config file, which I'll show you how to create and then show you how to use another module to read it maybe in a subsequent episode. I'll just try to keep today's succinct. So port. So I'll do process dot env dot port. Or if this is not there, choose port 3000. That's it. So with this set, save this. Let's go ahead and create our very basic route. So I'm just going to say app.get, and this is the basic route. And when that happens, I'm going to use an arrow function, request response, and then what would I say? So I'm just going to say the response the send. We'll just say hello Africa exclamation. And subsequently, I'm going to show you how to add how do you call it? How to add a UI to it. We'll just go find some free UI and I'll show you how to modify the UI. And then once we're done, let's say app.listen, and then what are we listening to? We're listening to the port, and when there is a connection using an arrow function, what we want to say, we can just go ahead and say um, console.log so we can see this, right? I'm going to use string interpolation so I can use some cool thing. I'll just say omni post is running on port, and then we can throw the port variable in there. All right. Yeah, it says omni post is unknown word. Yeah, that's because it's my project. All right, let me do this. So let's save this. Now, just keep an eye here. So now that we have this basic file, all I'm going to do is npm start, right? And see, it's telling me what Omnipost is running on port 3000. This is just very blank and bare. But if I go here and I do localhost 3000, as you can see, application is running. We have Hello Africa, right? So which means if I go back here and I Control C to stop this, and I change this to hello, and I say let's, so now I need to get, let's see, let's do this. Azure Rocks. All right. Let's save this. And again, I do npm start. It's running. We come back here. I refresh. It says Azure Rocks. Now, mind you that this is our production site that is still saying site under construction. This is our local endpoint that tells us Azure Rocks. So we know that we have a working application. I just want to show you one cool module before we go on. So let me stop this. So you realize that Omnipost is running. It's just blank. I don't like it. I need some color in my life. So npm install chalk. So chalk is a node module that allows you to just like with your color chalk is. So with this, I have to go. All I have to do is go in there and say const my chalk is equal to require, and then I'll just start typing and I'll say yeah, that's chalk. So I already have chalk. So for instance, if I want this to look something else, I can go ahead and say let's put what chalk dot green. All right. And then what are we putting in there? We're putting our omni post. All right. Now let's save this. If I run this again, right? npm start. Now you should see that omnipost is now what? Green. Add some life to it. So there's a module called chalk. I could do the same thing here and say um, chalk dot blue. Could do chalk dot blue and then put the port in there. All right, save this. Let's stop this. Now this doesn't add anything to the application. It's just me that gives me some visual representation of the various parts of my application. So if I'm debugging, I can use this colors to tell me, this is where it's just to highlight it. So it has nothing to do with the application. So right now we're done. Okay, we're done with just the scaffolding. So at this point, if we check Git, it tells us that we have what, 4 files. So here I need to go ahead and say what I did. So I'll probably say is a comment added startup files and modules. Now, before I push this, let's go here. So you realize that if you look into the files, this is all we have. We don't have any other thing. It's just 3 folders: application, public. Okay, so this is where all the app and like stuff is. But I'm adding a new folder to it so you can understand it. I'll remove it any which ways, but I'll just add this now. So the test and all that, but currently there's nothing here. So pipelines, yes, this is the commit, first commit. I just want you to be mindful and watch this first commit, all right, and then keep your eye here as well. So let's go ahead. We don't have any tests. Well, they've created a functional test for it, but we're not going to use it. We're creating our own, so no problem with that. So, and now it's still telling us site is what? Site is under construction, right? Under construction. Nothing is showing there because nothing has been done. All right. So I'm going to go here, commit this change. Now it's not just enough committing it. You also need to push it to the repository. Now I'm not here to talk about the whole Git workflow or process, but ideally you would check out or create a branch, and then make your changes and then do a pull request and all that. But I could go ahead and just click here and push. And now this should push the code into Azure DevOps. And when that code is pushed into Azure DevOps, that should kick a CI/CD pipeline to publish this thing too. So let's see what happens. I'm going to come here, refresh this page, and you should see that there you go. The new apps we added are showing here. If we go here to all our pipelines, if I should refresh this, as you can see, other starter files, something is going on. So this immediately has triggered some changes to happen right from my editor or my IDE through Azure DevOps. And now when this is done, when the build is done successfully, what's going to happen is that it's going to now publish this into our Azure App Service, which contains our app, and then we should see Hello Africa. Once that is done, we are in business. And then I'll just go ahead and show you how to start using the Azure bots to add features. Just add to like kind of like task. We won't be very strict on whether we're using Scrum or Agile or any of this. We'll just go with the basic, create some features, and then pick them up and work on them in subsequent episodes. So once that is working, well, as you can see, node application successful. This is an application that was pushed. We could use a DevOps project. We could use, anything, but application is running now. So yeah, this localhost, we don't need localhost now because now we're pushing into Azure. This was just the Express app this was the application that was scaffolded, for us. So let's go here. Yep, pipeline is done. So let's see. Let's refresh this. Yep, and our build is successful. So now let's go into our pipeline. Let's check this out. So I'm going to go into the pipeline. This is the pipeline. So as you can see, first commit added files, which was pushed into master that went in file. So let's open the pipeline and see what has been published. Let's open the build. So this was the build. All right. Initiated a job. They checked out. It checked the node modules. So yeah, you can actually walk through the whole process of how it went through it. So initialized the job, got the agent, checked out all the code. So it checked out to get all the changes we had done. And then it went ahead to pick the node module to use. So selected long-term support by default. Then it looked for the appropriate. So check something out. So this is the location for the how do you call it? Location for the application. So this is where node is being picked from the host machine. But look at the working directory. Look at what happened. It picked it from application, which was the one scaffolded. Now, then if you also look at a few defaults there. So let's go. Let's see. It checked the test to see if there was any test to run. This is where our test would be. Run unit test. We don't really have any. Then I archive the application once that is done. It copies the files. As you can see, copies the files from the temp folder to, and then that's a post. So that's how the process is running. So let's do a small tweak. So let's copy everything in a index file. All right, and then go to application, open up. So scaffolded is we have our views. So this is using pad. All right, I was mentioning that. So the reason why I didn't want us to use this was that this was like it's a scaffold of the application, but I wanted us to do bit by bit. So um, let's just leave this out. So here, this is our README web config, all that. This is because you are deploying into a Windows application, into a Windows VM Windows App Service is actually setting configuration files that you need to enable the application run if you're running on if you're running a Windows if you're running Node on Windows in Microsoft Azure App Service. So yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just leave this as it were. Let's go here. Um, but it should be in the public. As you can see, this is our app.js, and that has Express, that has Path, that has, like all the all the stuff you would think about. It has all the routes set up and all. But like I said, we're going to take it step by step. So we'll see how to use or to create all these things instead of running on it. So let's go in there and change the path to uh, let's see. So this should have it's a Windows specific file, web config. We don't want this. This is the ARM template to deploy the application when you're ready. We don't need this. So let's go back. Let's go back here and modify our CI/CD pipeline. Okay. So let's edit the pipeline. And the reason we're editing the pipeline is that we have stuff in different folders for us. All right. So install dependencies. That's fine. So use node model, install application dependencies. Let's see. So check this out. So this is it. So node version 8.4. We don't have any control options here. Run the tags only one. If there's any output, but we are not using this. So this is how you would manually create your pipelines. But install application dependencies, yes. So npm install, this is what we're doing, but this is where the application is. So the application doesn't exist in this folder anymore. Our application exists here, right, in the root. So I'll change this to the root of this folder to say that is where the application, exists. So um, no, it's right here. So my application is there. So let's just leave this and put a dot there so that save, and then let's go to the install test dependencies. Let's leave it there. Once the application directly is set, run unit test. We don't want any archive the application. Root folder for archive or file to archive. Um, well, we don't have anything in here, so I'll leave this out here. Archive test. Yes, you can put it there. I don't mind. Drop artifact. Copy. So copy arm template. This is the what? Yep. So there we go. Our sources Azure repo, as you can see right here. So I could come in and modify all these things to suit. So if I didn't want it to pick from Azure repos Git, I could point into GitHub or Bitbucket or any other stuff. All right. So that's it here. And yeah, I think the most important thing here is to make sure, yeah, it's just to make sure that we're picking from the right folder. We're picking from the right folder, else we're going to have a few errors. So, yeah, so that's it. Let's make sure that, yep, save. I'm just going to save this, modify. Because it's a source control, I need to put in reasons why I'm saving it. So, modified um, pipeline, and then save. And when that is done, all right, let's check variables. What do we have? Variable groups. That's fine. Yeah, triggers. What triggers that? This just what's it's just continuous integration is, yeah, once changes happen to the file, it's just going to trigger it. So options. Yeah, I think we should be fine. So yeah, yep. Let's go back here. Let me go to my pipeline, and then this is the pipeline, and I'll just say run the pipeline. So let's see. Well, we issued another command queued. Let's see now if that's going to skip the application folder and actually just go ahead and publish our stuff. So I'm going to open this up. So it's initialized, it's checked out, it's checking out, it's checking the node version. Yeah, so we'll get to know if it picked the correct folder when it gets to the install the application dependencies, because that's where we've told it to pick from. So node version is fine. So here, installing, this shouldn't take long because hey, it's just one module, unless of course it can see, well, if it picked it, as you can see, pick from, yep, host, no, yep, so it picked it from there. Looked at it, it's installing test. We don't have any run unit test, we should be fine. We should archive the files. Oh, so unit test failed. So now we need to go check the unit test. That is because it's expecting some unit tests which we don't have within our application. So tests were found. So publishing, yeah, let's see. Cannot find module serve favicon. That's true. Okay, so I'm going to go back again to pipelines, and then I'm going to edit the pipeline, and this is what I'm going to do. Run unit test. Um, I'm going to remove it and then archive the test. I'm going to remove, yeah, I'm just going to remove archiving of, remove selected tags. Yeah, so we're just copying and publishing the artifact. So let's save and queue. Yeah, removed test. Okay, so let's open this. If it's scheduled, waiting for the job. Yep, and this. How did I miss this? Okay, so install dependencies. Let's see. We don't have any test dependencies, so I should have actually taken that also out. But yeah, publish artifact. Yep. Job is fine. Now let's look at the build. So releases. When was this? 11, 928, 940. Okay, so this is now running. Yep. So let's wait. If this pushes it successfully, then we can go to our endpoint here, and we should see it, but it's still running. So let's just wait for this. Dev is in progress. So keeping it crossed. Pum 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 pum. Oh, that's interesting. Oh man, it's amazing what trends, you know. I see. Interesting. Well, so I'm just trying. I'm responding to a tweet from another friend, and apparently there was actually some tech stuff thing where the Alibaba guy Jack Ma spoke, and it was like cocos. They kept a very tight lid on it. Oh man. Anyways, yeah. Well, so also waiting for that to deploy, and then we can see our application there. If there's any questions, specific questions you have, you can ask me on any of my channels, and I will be sure to try to give you an answer. Um, hmm, yep, if there's any project you're thinking of or thing you feel like we can work together, just something for social good, yeah, hit me up. I would be able to, contribute to that project as well. Because, hey, we are here to learn. So, so, don't be don't be a stranger on this show. Oh, what just happened? What just happened? So yeah, I'm just waiting for this to deploy. Just waiting for it to deploy so we can see our change in them. And that would be victory. So I can actually go to the home page right now. Yeah, files have been added. Pipelines. Oh, pipelines. Pipeline is passing. We only had one fail because of that error we had in there, but the rest are passing. So now we're waiting for the build. And that'll be in releases. Oh, it failed. So let's go see what happened. So click on it and it says what? Um, oh, error. No package found with a specified pattern, blah blah blah, application.zip. So which meant that my pipeline definition file has still a line, especially I think that's going to be for publish or deploy. That has it. Let's see. Sorry, let's edit that. Let's edit that. Yep, yep. I knew it. Advanced, yeah, override. Okay, so what? Okay, so then this is what we're going to do. Let's just go back here. Close this, close that. Let's close all this, and let's go to our index. Let's copy everything in our index here. I always like to make backups of the backup. And then let's go into our application. So that will mean, so let's go here to our app. And then What do you know? Let's save this and just go here and say modified app. Now, with that said, before I push it, I'm going to go to the dependencies and look for the working folder, and this is the working folder, right? Yep. And I'll just save this. I won't queue this. I'll just say changed pipeline. Right, let's save this. So that's fine. So node modules, dependencies, test dependencies, copy. Yep. Okay. So now let's come back here. And this time around, I'm now going to push. So with a push, this should send it to, um, yeah, this shouldn't take a long time. Just quickly. What was it saying? Omnipost, yeah, I know, that's fine. So yeah, that's gone. Let's come back to our pipeline. Yep, something is coming up. It's running, as you can see. If everything goes well, this should push and we should see the change. And oh, let me say congratulations to um, all my friends, especially the nurses and all my friends who graduated from um, the various universities in the country. You know, go, congrats. All your hard work has paid off. Keep on keeping on. Simply put, thank you, my big brother Edem Maugbe, for sharing my stream. God bless you. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Oh, and a happy birthday, belated happy birthday to my friend Reggie, Reginald. Ni Reggie, he has another name, but I can't mention it on, I can't do that to him. So let's go to release and check our pipeline. It's deploying to dev. This is the fourth release we're trying. So, yep, 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 yep. Yep. I think I have, yeah, I think I have, I have given all the shout outs that I have to give out to. Yeah, 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 yeah. If there's anything I remember, definitely I'm going to add it to it. But until then, well, yep. So, just keeping it cross for this very last build. Keeping it cross, keeping it cross, keeping it cross, keeping it cross for this very last build. So, with if this build goes through, then what's going to happen is that then it's going to replace the whole of this Express node, all this blah blah blah, with what we had. So just keep it cross, keep it cross, keep it cross, keep it cross. So don't worry, keep your questions coming. Um, I'll try to answer them. I'm still working on making some small changes to my blog. Once that is up, I'll share the link, and then you can see all my blog posts for almost all the videos I do. If the network doesn't stay active, or if I'm having unstable network, what I'm going to do is that I'll just start to record them and put them up, and then just put the links in my blog post and on my social media feed, just to make it easier for you to go through. So, all right. So, till I come your way again next week for another round of functions, IoT, and Demystify. Go out there, create an account, play around with it, mess around with it, and let me know how it goes. I'll be here to give you some support and guide. Till then, yours truly, Samuel Atranyi. See you next week.